Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today is St. Patrick's Day. It's the 17th, so happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there. I forgot it was St. Patrick's Day. Uh, Forgive my voice. I can't seem to project today. For those of you who do not know, I had a hernia surgery on Thursday. Turned out to be 6 hernias. One of them was really, really bad. So they had to do some cutting and sewing inside the old body over here. So I'm out of it. I can't really take a deep breath, and I can't use my abdomen muscles too much. It was right above my belly button. They had to detach all the muscles to pull everything tight, and then sew everything together, and then reattach my muscles. So oh man, I just feel like I've been beaten up. So I've been kind of laying low on as far as the channel's been going. I hope everybody can understand. But anyway, let's look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. Have a blessed St. Patrick's Day, Zach. Thank you, Zach Tan. And as always, thank you, Haldir, for being a good moderator. He's always here. This is my Substack. Guys, my comic is banging and moving. Renzo is finishing up page 15 out of the 22-page main story. The backup is being drawn. The backup was going to be a stretch goal. I said, you know what, let's just do it, because I don't want that to hold up. So Renzo just submitted the artwork for the stretch goals of cards, and we are just rocking and rolling. I got two covers. I got a regular cover, a variant cover. So sign up for the Substack. I'll keep everybody up to date. I haven't been using the Substack as much as I should. So thank you, Haldir, for reminding me. And Phil, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, thank you. I think this is a new name. Thank you for showing up. I'll talk about, I'm just going to filibuster for a minute or two until we get some more people, so I don't have to repeat myself. Hail, Phil. Phil, where are you from? I'm always curious where people are watching from. Where are you? You don't have to get specific. What state? I assume you're in the United States. And how long you been a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan? Because oh, Illinois. Oh, I forgot to turn off the phone. People are messaging me. Okay, all right, that's good. Oh, you're from Illinois. Okay, cool. We got Pete. How you doing, Pete? How you doing? This is my buddy Pete. This is my buddy Allison. Allison and I have been friends since 3rd grade. She went and got herself married to Pete. I don't know who got the worst end of the deal there. That's for the philosophers to decide. And then when we became friends again, they moved away from me because they're more sensible than me. They got out of New York to Arizona. So enough. Oh, okay. What does Phil say? My sister got me a teenage where I was about 3 and 4, and now I'm 20. Okay, pretty much all your life. So pretty much all your life. So all right, we got 7 people here. No more filibustering. So let's begin it. I'll talk a little bit about my personal connection to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was working in the Incredible Pulp in Baldwin. It was a comic book store, and the more it's a perfect example of taking things for granted. Like, I didn't realize how important that comic book store was at the time. It was just the comic book store. I got a job there. I worked in the basement because the basement was as big as the comic book store, and it was just filled with random comic books. As Larry, as he got comics, overstock, whatever, just moved them downstairs. So I didn't really deal with the customers. It was heaven. I got to go to work, spend all day in the basement by myself sorting comics. Oh my God, did I love that job. Still my favorite job. Just comics everywhere. And I just put them in alphabetical order. That's what I did for like 2 years. Oh my God, did I love doing that. And while I was there, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic came out. So, I remember putting it on the shelf. I remember looking at it. Now, this is the 5th edition. This isn't the 1st edition. The first edition has the more famous black outlines with like red highlights. So I do not have that, but I remember looking at that in the shelf. And Marcus is not here. Marcus is usually really good. But I was going to say, if anybody in the chat could find out what the actual the exact release date of this was, geez, now 1984, but I don't know the exact date, but the exact release date, I have a memory of this, The Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns just being right next to each other on the shelf. Now I'm wondering if that was something like Larry just kept out as important comics, or did they all come out like in a short window? But anyway, picked up The Watchmen, I picked up the Dark Knight Returns, and I vehemently put the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back on the shelf. It was stupid. They're making fun of comics. This guy can't draw. What's going on here? This is ridiculous. I was violently, like, not just opposed, but like offended. And I don't get offended by much by this comic because I was such a hoity-toity comic snob at the time. And in my defense, back in 1984, you did have those people that were like, comics are just garbage. Comics will rot your brain. Comics are for degenerates kind of people. And one of them was one of my father's best friends. He was some sort of professor. Forgive me. Like I said, I had surgery on Thursday, so I'm like just all out of sorts today. So forgive me. But at least I got my Tim Hortons coffee, and yes, I cut it with Cafe Bustelo, so to give me some boost because my sleep schedule's been messed up. But enough about that. So I was, you know, trying to defend the integrity and honor of comic books, and then this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comes out, and they're making fun of the teenage part. Was they goofing on the new Teen Titans, which was such a good comic. The mutants, they were making fun of the X-Men, which is such a good comic, and then the ninja part, they were making fun of Daredevil, which was such a good comic at the time. So, oh my god, I I call that my $180,000 mistake because that's what a copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 first print will go for. If you in good condition, 100, because only 3,000 copies were made. So this is the 5th edition. This is all I could afford, these days. So I only bought this a couple of months ago at the urging of Tonic Mole, because when he found out that not only have I don't like the Ninja Turtles, I don't have any Ninja Turtles comics, and I never read a Ninja Turtles comic. He called BS on that and demanded that so me being a crazy person, I had to get the first issue of this comic, and this was the one I could afford, 5th edition. So don't worry, Phil, Teenage Mutant Ninja, this won me over. This won me over. I can appreciate it now as what it is in a, you know, hindsight is 2020, right? My mouth is crazy. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of the best superhero teams, said about the recent adaptations. See, that I'm gonna have to defer to you guys on. I'm walking on thin ice over here because I actively avoided the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because, like I said, I was just like irrationally offended by this comic. You know, there's no other way. These were my first cool. And I didn't realize how much of a cult following these comics have. And again, it won me over. Hey, Nick Axie, good day, chat. I'll bed you all before the day is through. Oh, there you go. Nick will take you to bed. I missed out on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, a few episodes of TV show as a child, but that was about it. I couldn't stand that cowabunga, dude. I just everything about it. It was just like the all the points aligned towards everything that I couldn't stand in comics. So let's look at this. This is in pretty good shape. I already explained I missed out on the comic. Well, not mixed out. I had the comic. I had #1 in my hand. I remember looking at it and scoffing at it. Oh man, we all talk about if we had a time machine. What would you do if you had a time machine? I would go back because I didn't realize that Andrea was hitting on me. That's one. That was I call that my gorgeous mistake. And I didn't buy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. So there you go. Even though it was in my hand. And we got Matt Bear showing up. Hey Matt, how's it going? Matt Bear is like the Spectre. He drives by waving in all my live chats. So let's open this up. As you can understand, I'm being a little ginger with it. I'm going to remove this little brand thing over here because I don't want to mess up the comic. So here we go. So this is fifth printing. Oh, you can't see that. Registered fifth printing. Okay. Eastman and Laird, the creators. Volume 1, number 1, 1988. So this came out 4 years after the actual release date. The actual release date is in 1984. John's good stuff. Thank you. Thank you. I think I got some good stuff. I got some good stuff. So okay, let's talk about Eastman and Laird. So Eastman and Laird were two comic book fans. They became roommates in I think it was like 82 or something like that. And they one of them was in a bad mood, and the other one drew a picture of a turtle with nunchucks. I guess he drew this to make the other one laugh. And so Laird, I think, was the artist. Eastman, I think, was the writer. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I'm on thin ice with this. And they one of them added the teenage goofing on the New Mutants. I mean the Teen Titans, and then the other guy added mutants, and then they added all of this Daredevil lore to it. And they said, let's make this go. They took a loan from Eastman's uncle and self-published 3,000 copies. And there you go. How rich are these guys now? Billionaires? Marcus, I'm at McDonald's in Florida and an elderly coffee. There you go. Got Marcus has visited his pops. So here we go. This is the first panel. I consider this historic because this is an important comic. Keep in mind now, Marvel and DC were on top of their game. Well, Marvel was on top of the game. I think this was pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths in DC. So Marvel was printing money at this point. The Jim Shooter years were going, and I made no bones about the Jim Shooter years being the high point of Marvel Comics, probably the high point of comics. And I'm sure that there's some old timers that'll disagree with me about 50s EC, and I'm not going to argue with them. I'm talking from my frame of reference. DC would come along in another year or two after the Crisis and just publish some of the best comics ever. So, when we look at all of the Marvel movies, all the ones that we think of, all the seeds were laid in the Jim Shooter years. So then these guys come along and goof on it. Now, at the time, I thought it was malicious goofing this, and I was a self-righteous teenager. Keep in mind, I did not get into my self-proclaimed super artsy, pretentious years until a couple of years later. So this was pre-self-righteous, but pre-righteous, I guess. But I was getting there, and I was evangelical about comic books at this time. Like, anybody who, because it came from like a weakness. I was I was defensive. Like, only kids like comic books, and I was a big kid. You know what I mean? My brothers at this time were already working, getting jobs, and I was still in school. Reading comic books. So you lash out. So these guys were making fun of comic books. But now I recognize it was in a loving homage kind of way. At the time, I thought it was like a malicious way, so I didn't like it. So here we go. This first page, a lot of dialogue. Look at this splash page. Now, at the time, there was what we call the black and white indie comics boom, notably Love and Rockets, which I absolutely loved. Now, again, I don't know if this is the Mandela effect, but I remember Love and Rockets, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, all next to each other. And again, that might have been Larry like pushing some high quality comics. Maybe he just put them together as a group, but I kind of remember them all coming out. I got Love and Rockets. I got everything but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and to my eternal regret. Now, at the time, you had to get there was no crowdfunding. There was no comic books. You had to get into distributors. So I don't know. They formed Mirage Studios and got these 3,000 comics, and they all sold out. The legend that I know is they went to one of their local comic book stores and asked the guy to sell Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, and the guy like kind of laughed him out of the store. And then like 2 or 3 years later, he showed up with Julie Strain, the Penthouse Pet of the Year, his wife, Eastman, and Laird, I forget which one's which. and went into the store and bought stuff like just basically like look what you turned down. A good life is the best revenge. So let's get into this. So here we got, and focus. I'm getting a little too excited. Let's look at the chat. Let's look at the chat while I focus. Uh, what do we got here? We got the drawing style and toys made this fun, accessible as a little kid, hence the love of these characters. I am not going to argue with the how much fun it looks as a kid. If I was just a little too old, but I was a little too old for He-Man, Turtles, Transformers, G.I. Joes. The last big franchise of toys, I got into Star Wars and I got into Micronauts. After that, I was a little too old for toys. But man, if I was 7 years old when this came out, forget about it. I could see the appeal. I know Daredevil is a martial arts, but it's martial arts, specifically ninjutsu. Depends. Is he ninjutsu? Depends on who's writing it at the specific time. Derail Gaming. I drive by the Eastman's hometown every day. Yeah, that's Massachusetts, right? I gotta trim my beard. Hey, what you geeks? Happy Sunday. You too. Happy Sunday. Anna does not read or like comics. Okay, I don't know who Anna is, but poor girl if she doesn't read or like comics. I don't know. How can you not read or like comics? What's wrong with you? Let's all. I was gonna say pray for Anna, whoever Anna is. Now again, of course, because of this surgery, man, every time I cough, it's just blinding pain. So please bear with me. All right, so let's get to the comic itself. People keep telling me that the comic is more gritty and dark than the cartoon. I will take their word for it because I have never seen any cartoon. I've never watched any movie, and this is the only Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics I've ever read. So this is the only authentic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff that I could reference with any sort of authority because I read it last night. But look at this panel over here. You can't tell which turtle is which. There's no color. You know what I mean? Like I know their names. Donatello, Raphael. Oh, the Star Wars girl. She doesn't read comics. I don't follow Star Wars, so I don't really follow her. Nothing personal. It just, I lost interest in all things Star Wars with the prequel movies. I saw 2 out of 3 of the sequel movies. Excuse me. I saw 2 out of 3 of the sequel movies, and I'm done. So, Anna, good. She could be interested in stuff that I'm not interested in. That's fine. That don't bother me. So we got this. I do love this. Now, as an adult looking back at this, this I could see the Frank Miller. Now I don't know if the aping Frank Miller, the goofing Frank Miller, or influenced by Frank Miller or a coincidence, but this, if you look at Ronin, Frank Miller's Ronin, which was Frank Miller kind of doing a manga style, anime style, manga style artwork. This is just so similar, and I do really dig everything about this. They're working with shadows and darkness. It's ninjas. So we got just look at the world building right over here. This one panel. We got these shadows over here. They're backed up against the wall, not drawing every brick. And then we got this just garbage over here. So you know exactly what is going on without reading. This is one panel, excellent storytelling. And I love this. Nobody trespasses on the purple dragon turf, especially wearing stupid turtle costumes. And it's funny because I did a showcase on adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters, which was the parody on this by Don Chin and Parsonovich. And now, so I could see the Parsonovich artwork is remarkably true to the Eastman and Laird comic. Look at this though; they're all jumping. I could see why people love this. He's wrong. We're not wearing costumes. And then look, I don't know. I'm just digging this. I'm geeking out because this is all new to me. This might as well have come out yesterday because I didn't read it. I gotta move this camera up a little bit. So we got this generic group of freaks over here, the purple dragons, and they're just waiting it. Notice lack of dialogue. It's just captions. The only criticism that I'm going to say is look at all this wasted space in between panels. Now, is that due to a is that like a cheat to fill the page? Is that a stylistic choice? I don't know. I don't know. Did they have more dialogue over here, and then in revamping it, they tightened it down because the dialogue and the pacing is excellent, just excellent. And again, I am new to this. This is literally the first and only Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic that I read, and I know Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Leonardo, but I don't know which one. Like, is this one's Raphael? You know, I only know it because I just read it. I forget, like, this who holds the staff, who holds the katana, who holds the nunchucks. Like, I don't know enough. I'm not that much of a fan of this particular comic. So they're wading into these guys right away. Gun, boom, 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 boom. Note the background. I talk about this every Sunday. Every Sunday, I point this out. Note the background. The sky is dark. The sky is white. The sky is dark. Is that a mistake? Absolutely not. It is not a mistake. Why is it not a mistake? It's color theory. It's the creators understanding that each panel has to have its own majority color. It has to be distinct. It has to be separate from each other. Now look, we got all of this action over here. There's a lot of blacks, shadows, a lot of lines. So they contrast that with the white. Up here, they got a lot of whites, so they contrast it with the black. It really is good. I don't know. Does anybody know? Did they do any professional work before this? Is this just two goofballs just making a comic book out of nowhere? They're doing excellent storytelling, and I'm not reading anything. But then again, it's a fight, so we don't need to know the subtleties. Look at this; he's just jumping. It's kind of muddy, kind of dark. What just happened? Oh, my phone just started making noise. And look at this. Too bad. So I don't know. Is he hitting them with the blunt end, or is he stabbing them? But we see blood over here. Pretty good choice, if you ask me. It's ambiguous enough that me as the reader could fill in the details. Is he stabbing? Is he beating? We don't know. And I do like that because it's like our brains could do the censoring. We could make it G-rated or R-rated ourselves. This guy's, again, look at this. Really no dialogue. I think that a rookie writer would fill every page with dialogue, but they're letting the action, and the choreographing is really good. The only problem is here is it's kind of muddy over here. I can't really distinguish. Is that the turtle's face? It would have to be through anatomy, but that's a little muddy, but whatever. And then turned around and kicked. Who are these guys? I don't know. Some freaks that could bleed. Cut them. The dialogue, it's kind of hokey, but it's the way it is at the time. This is true to Marvel and DC, and I like this. We got all the white over here, and then we got the bricks in the background, and it's faded. Pretty cool. I like this panel. So yes, we can bleed. Look at the face. He swings the katana, and so could you. This is such good. Oh, I just realized I got to move the camera. Look at this. Yes, we could bleed. So could you. What does he do? He's showing that the bad guys had violent weapons. They had guns. They had knives. They were willing to do damage. And then we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the heroes, and we just see the blood. Why? It's actually pretty good. It's showing that they kill, stab, maim, vivisect, whatever word you want, but they don't show it. The brain is filling in the details. It kind of is like a way to keep these guys innocent, I don't know if this was made. Who keeps messaging me? I don't know who. If this was supposed to be for children. I mean, it's an independent comic. It comes out in '84, so I don't think it was for children. It was for, like, teenagers, so they can handle violence. But it's just an excellent choice. keeping the actual gutting off screen. And then you see we got the blood on the swords. So this, I don't know. I'm going to assume that the cartoon really didn't have them stabbing. Like, it was always one of my pet peeves in comic books. Wolverine. Wolverine could be called Stab Man. He could be called Knife Guy, Vivisector. You know, all of these names would fit Wolverine because think about it. His superpower is knives pop out of his skin. And yet, for the most part, the classic run of Wolverine, you never really see him stabbing anybody. You never see him like just gutting people, with the exception of that Hellfire comic, which turned him from like a B-lister to an A-lister. You know, it's doing the same thing over here. It's kind of showing you that they mean business, but at the same time, it's letting you, absolving you of being the guilty party and participating in the killing. And we got the police over here. You know, I like this. The lights are showing again, 7 pages, and I get nervous whenever I turn the page. All right, so 7 pages. Do you guys like if I move the camera or move the comic to show off everything? So I'm gonna address the comments, and again, I'm being really nervous, guys, because I don't want to ruin the comic. Okay, cool. So Mikey's the nunchucks. Yeah, everybody's favorite is nunchucks. Man, I don't know if you guys are my age. I'm 50. I'm 55 years old. In 1984, man, nunchucks were the coolest thing in the world. Everybody wanted nunchucks. Everybody had plastic nunchucks. Everybody was playing with nunchucks. Everybody's elbows were smashed from nunchucks. They were cool. So Michelangelo, even though I didn't like the turtles, Michelangelo was my favorite because nunchucks. You know, I just hated that whole cowabunga pizza dude. You know, and so far I don't see any of that in the comic. Granted, I only read one. So Donnie is the bow staff, Leo is the katana, and Raphael is the sai. And I know Raphael is like the bloodthirsty one. Sword is Leonardo, the leader. Raphael holds the sai, and the warrior Donatello holds the staff, and Michelangelo has the nunchucks. And I like that everybody's greeting each other. Today's comic, even see overcolored. Yeah, I kind of agree. The cutaway to the blood on the ground is so good. Yes. Oh, here we go. Haldir's backing me up. I had some foam practice nunchucks years ago. Yes. I remember. Oh, okay. I saw this purple up here, and I was wondering what's going on. I still have my nunchucks from 1984. Note they're chain, not rope. Yes, with the ball bearings in them, so they can spin around. Oh man, why did parents back in 1884? They just gave kids toys, didn't care how much damage. I mean, how many split bones and stuff did we have with all the damaging toys that we had? So let's check this out. Again, I'm looking at this page as a whole. Look at the background choices. You know, why do we have white over here? To separate. If this is look at comics from 10 years from now. So this is 1984. Let's go to 1994 Image Comics. All the backgrounds would be the same color, and it would just turn into a blob. It would just like I keep using this word, very pretentious. It would become like a melange of just one comic page. Different. It would be difficult to separate, and I think that's one of the problems with the Image Comics is that I had problems figuring out what the hell was going on, and I think coloring was not aiding. This coloring, granted, it's black, white, and gray, is doing an excellent job of keeping each panel separate. I'm following the action. Again, can you guys follow this animation? Like, one of the things that I like is when there's a clear delineated gutter. Like right over here, we could see this gutter. Perfect. I mean, over here, it's a whole nother page, so that's obvious. But right here, over here, the whole gutter, like this white is forming this whole thing. I think it's so good. Am I making myself clear? Like this is just a black line, but the separate between the panels is forming this white gutter, and it turns each panel into a cell of a film. So look, I could follow the animation perfect. This is a perfectly animated sequence of 4 drawings that just tells a story that culminates in this. It is, well, I'll go to this in a second, but look at this. We got the 2 turtles, and without the weapons, you can't really tell who's who. There's no color. differentiate in the bandanas. There's no weapons. There we got the I guess that's the katana sheath. So, but they're just running. Look at this. They open up that, they're jumping down and closing it. I don't know about you, but I could hear it. I could hear like a little like thud, and then boom into the night. Look at that. They just disappear into the night. Look at that panel. Now, this artwork, it's kind of like clunky. It's kind of chunky, however you want to describe it, but it's excellent. Excellent. You know, this the perspective lines, they meet right here. It's perfectly framed. I don't know. That is a great panel. There's no action, there's no murder, there's no death. This is by far my favorite panel in this comic, but without a doubt. I just love this cityscape. There's just look at this, just debris over here. There's one person just hanging out over there, crudely drawn, but it fits. This alleyway's just got garbage in it and fire escapes. This is the story I always tell is Frank Miller when he was big into Daredevil. What Pete and I we talked about some of the earlier Daredevils back in the way back days in my channel. We were talking about how Frank Miller would go up on top of buildings in Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan and take pictures of all of these water tower stuff, all the invisible things that we pedestrians walking down here don't see, but Daredevil would be part of his world. And he wanted to capture all that. This is just like, you could see they did the due diligence. Now, I don't know. Did they live in like these low rise apartment buildings in Massachusetts? Did they travel to New York and Queens? Is this just an entire figment of their imagination? But this is believable. This is, I always say, like, compare things to Will Eisner. This is like a Will Eisner, which I got to do some Will Eisner on a Sunday Comics now that I'm getting an audience. Let's see. We got 8-bit over here. If you want to see an example of bad black white comic, look at that new Savage Sword of Conan. It's bad. Oh no, I just bought like 3 or 4 issues of it. I haven't read it yet because I'm missing issue number 1. So I got to get issue number 1. Oh man, I hope it's really bad. Ah, damn. Well, I got to read it. I got to read it because I bought it. So here we got the storm drains our home. We know every inch of these subterranean tunnels. So here they are. They're creaking through and into this little like den. Now these walls, I guess they separate opening. I didn't notice that when I first read it, but I guess they opened sesame. And here we got Splinter. And here is Splinter, just the wise old sensei. And Splinter is a goof on Stick. Who is Stick? Stick was Matt Murdock's mentor. Frank Miller retroactively inserted Stick into Matt Murdock's past. He's the blind, all-wise sensei, the stereotype that trains him how to use his senses and turns him into a martial artist. It's just such a trope. It's just such a Hong Kong movie trope that made its way into Daredevil, and then from Daredevil to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, this is the only major criticism I have of this comic. And I was honestly trying to think last night, how would I do it? Again, who the hell am I? Consider the source. But, this now becomes Info Dump, the comic. So now we got Splinter. Sit down while I tell you the story. Now, I could see people saying, like, this is the only way you could tell the story because the events are happening right now. So this is when this should be told. But we got Splinter now just telling backstory. It now becomes backstory, the info dump, the comic. Number 1 looks awful. Are you talking about, the Savage Sword of Conan? And then I don't think it's bad at all. So I guess we have a debate about. I'm gonna have to figure it out because I think I got 3 out of the 5. If we're thinking about the same comic, I'm thinking. Oh man. Okay, so now we got Stick over here. So Stick is a regular old rat. Now, I don't know. At this point, I don't know enough about the world of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm going to assume that there's magic because I'm going to assume that it's the same type of superhero universe as Marvel Comics. Why? I'll show you why in a minute. So he is a, a pet rat that lives in a cage. Now I don't know what kind of rat he is because that is huge. This is a big cage for a rat. You know what I mean? So is this a magical rat? Is this a different species from Japan that I know nothing about? Is this real? Is this magical? But this man over here, Hamato Yoshi, is a trainer. He's a master martial artist, and the rat is doing martial arts in the cage. Again, that's not normal. So is this guy a magician? Is something special? Did he see something special about this rat? Is that why? These are all stuff that I don't know. I'm asking you guys in the chat. Is this addressed later on? Because this is fodder for real good storytelling. And now he's attacked by he's the leader of the Foot Clan. And here is Splinter telling the story. The Foot Clan. Oh, I gotta adjust the camera. Again, I'm rather adjusting the camera rather than handling the comic. I'm sure everybody could appreciate why. So here's the Foot Clan. And I remember turning into that comic book. The Foot Clan, that's a stupid name for Foot Clan. I was just a jerk. Who among us could travel back in time and meet your past self and get along with them? Man, I would get so mad at my past pretentious self. Because I'm perfect now. I've achieved perfect conscious. I've achieved total consciousness. And I got that going for me, which is nice. So the Foot Clan. Why the Foot Clan? Because Daredevil was fighting the Hand. Daredevil is fighting the Hand Clan. This is a goof on that. So they are the Foot Clan. There's the origin of the Foot Clan. And these two guys are brothers. They both like the Japanese hottie over here, Tang Shen. Rivals for her love. Not really rivals. He's the good guy. He likes her. She likes him. But this guy is the corn shark, as we used to say back in college. He's gonna muscle in and take her. So he's his Splinter talking to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, telling them the story. So they got into a fight. She picked the good guy, the owner of Splinter. So the other guy comes in, and they're not brothers. I misspoke. They're not brothers. He comes in on her getting beat up, so he walks in. He's a master martial artist, and he comes in on the bad guy beating the crap out of her. And he says his life passed before him in a red haze. I love when I'm getting excited. Forgive me. Yoshi dog, if I can't have this wench, then no one will. Yoshi's world vanished in a red haze. And when it cleared, Nagi was no more. Look at the bloody fist. Excellent storytelling. Excellent storytelling. Look at this. I love the blood dripping over the gutter. I was just saying before how I love a delineated gutter. But look at this. Look at this storytelling over here. Again, these guys are amateurs. At this point, these guys are amateurs. These guys are kids. Is their art the best? Is their anatomy the best? No. But just like Jack Kirby's anatomy wasn't the best, but there's something dynamic and explosive that obviously it caught on, I was just too dumb to see it at the time. But I love that this foot is stepping out. Why? Because this guy is about to, he's exploding in rage. The borders of this panel cannot contain. He's stepping out. And he's doing some violence. And look at that. The blood dripping down. It's just so good. It's just so good. And then they get together. His hands are bloody. She's all beat up. And then what do? They take off. Oh, I just realized that the panel is not in the camera. I apologize for that. I got a little carried away. So here we got this silhouette of Splinter talking about how his old master and his wife, they left. They came to New York and it formed a martial arts school. So I guess that was like Brooklyn, New York, Manhattan, the ubiquitous comic book city of New York, which is all parts of New York and none of New York at the same time. So in Japan, they're having a funeral for Nagi, and Nagi's brother wants revenge. And again, look, he's turning to the dark side over here as the panels show. He's training and training and training, and he calls himself the Shredder. So I don't know about you guys, but I got a little excited when I saw that, the origin of Shredder. Again, this was all new to me. I read this last night for the first time. So now he's going to New York to represent the Foot Clan, and he's going to find out where the guy who murdered his brother is, and now he tracks him down, and then I like this. Uh, Hamato, I'm getting the names wrong. He comes home and everything's just beat up. Everything's just destroyed. Who are you? He's like, I am Oroko Saki. And boom. This guy's just taken by surprise. I imagine he's being you can't see. He's taken by surprise, the master, and he's just killed. To Shredder. We're establishing a hierarchy of power. Before I turn the page, I will address the comments. The new Titan comics. That's the Conan. That's what you're talking about. Okay, I don't know. That's funny. Same size as rats in New York City today. Yeah, unfortunately, you're not too far from the truth. Yes, Splinter Rat Origin is my favorite for him. Yes, could anybody fill me in? Like, is there? Did they add like mysticism or science or anything later? Like, I know that the goo that's coming up, but like, why was the rat chosen? Why was he so big? Why was he doing martial arts when he was just a rat? What Geek Do Network? Are you going to read more teen? Oh, yes. I will pick up number 2, and I will continue in chronological order. The hand, yes, the hand was transformed into the foot as a goof. Interesting. I was so used to the Foot Clan, I didn't really think about it. I assumed that kicks were part of their fightings. That's funny that you said that, because sometimes words, through repetition, you stop analyzing them and just accept them. Oh, God, now you can drive me crazy. There was a perfect example of this, of words that we just accept, even though they make no sense or they're goofy. Like my friend John years ago, he was I forgot what we were doing, but his mother bought a water pick, and he's like, "Oh, water pick," and then he stopped for a minute, and he's like, "Oh, it's a water pick. It like picks your teeth from water," but the word water pick just became like so ubiquitous. Is that the word? Like, it didn't mean anything. It became known as the object, but when you break it down, you understand where it came from. But the Foot Clan, yeah. You thought they were the Foot Clan because of the kicks? No, they were a Foot Clan because they were goofing on the hand that Daredevil and Elektra fought, and Elektra became the leader of the hand. I get nervous when I turn the pages. I'm sure everybody could appreciate that. So here we got a lot of dialogue, a lot of words now in this part of the comic. And here's where I say, I accept that there's probably mysticism, magic, science, because this is kind of funny. So we got all this garbage. Here's Shredder. He left his cage and he's fending for himself. So not Shredder, Splinter. So Splinter's just fending for himself, and he sees this old man with the cane. Truck's about to come. He sees this kid, dives and saves the old man. The kid gets hit right in the eyes with this radioactive isotope. Everybody goes to help the kid and the old man, but nobody seems to notice that this radioactive isotope goes down into the sewer where there's these 4 turtles. Look at, they're all smiling. Oh, I'm not even showing it. Where these 4 turtles are all smiling and being happy, just going about their turtly goodness. And we got this radioactive ooze, and Shredder comes by again. Shredder isn't affected by the radioactivity. He's gathering up these turtles. So what was, I keep saying Shredder, Splinter, he gathers them up in a bucket, and he sees that the turtles are getting bigger, and over, they start talking, and now Splinter can talk. But again, I don't see Splinter being affected by the radioactivity. So is he a mystical creature? Is he supposed to be like what is the word? An Oni? What is the name for the Japanese spirits? there's a a yokai. Is he something like that? So, you know, probably abandoned. Yeah, they said that the turtles were abandoned pets. They were in like a little cage, and now he begins to train them. He's using everything that he learned from Mash from the master Yoshi, and he gives them names. So we got Leonardo with the katana. We got Michelangelo with the nunchucks. Is Michelangelo everybody's favorite? Donatello. I know my friend Donna liked Donatello, and I have a board game over there. So it's best when you play with 5 people. One person is the bad guy. I usually play the bad guy, and then the 4 players play the turtles. It's an excellent game. And she was always Donatello because her name was Donna. Raphael, and then a lot of dialogue. So they want to go and avenge the death of his master. So the turtles have no real emotional stakes in this other than being trained by Splinter. So I guess loyalty for their clan. I do like these drawings. He did know his perspective. The lines all match up. Anybody an artist in the chat? I know Marcus is an artist. He went to SVA. Let's see. Mikey is kind of the heart. Oh, so Michelangelo, he's the nice one. I know Raphael is like the bloodthirsty one. So, you guys, more than me. What are like the defining like personality traits of the characters? Like I already know the weapon traits, but tell me like, I guess Raphael makes sense with size. You have to get up close and personal, But look at this, David Alcia. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really enjoying this, guys. Thank you. Thank you guys for making this fun for me. Thank you so much. Especially I'm having a rough week with the surgery. So we got this. So we got this darkness, this dreariness, overwhelming gloom. It's just so what's the word? Atmospheric. Splinter told me that he tried to infiltrate the Shredder's headquarters and leave a calling card. My pleasure. So here we got Raphael goes off on a solo mission. He's going to go leave a calling card. We got this excellent series of animated panels over here. We got these 2 guys. Now, again, we are out of info dump and back into the story. Now, how would I have retold that? I don't know. I'll revisit that at the end of the comic. But we're back to action. This is now. I think this is just an unfortunate circumstance of the printing. But look, it's just muddy. It muds up the details. Now, I don't know. Is the muddiness of the printing or the muddiness on purpose to hide this is going to sound mean, but I don't mean it to be mean, like the lack of like deficiencies of talent. I'll put it that way. Either way, it works. So you work with the tools that you got, and he's spotting the other guy, and he just jumps out. Guys, I got a cough, and forgive me. Whenever I cough, it's like a blinding supernova of pain from my abdomen muscles. Those of you who don't know, I had a surgery, hernia surgery, and it's just a pain in the neck to cough. So I'm trying like a fool. I'm trying not to drink coffee with milk in it, but I needed coffee to wake up. Catch 22. So he's got the size over here, and he's just doing short work of this. Now, again, color theory. We established that it's dark. Why is the panels white? Because we need to differentiate, and we want to see the details. This is one of the things that I think works in comic books, and I can't see if it works well in movies. We established that it's dark. We all know it's dark over here. We also know that there's little patches of light. So our brain just assumes that he's jumping into the light, into the darkness. Now, are they fighting under the spotlight? We still intellectually understand that it's dark. Just so good. And then over here, he's got this awkwardly drawn light to focus on him. It's so good. It really is good. As again, no disrespect, as primitive as the artwork looks, It's so good at the same time, the storytelling. Now, I w I've been using the term storytelling. I guess I should revisit, every video is somebody's first time, and especially now with Ninja Turtles, people don't, this names that I don't recognize. But storytelling is not the words. It's not the story. It's not the writing. The storytelling is the artwork telling the story. And just look at this page. We got him hitting him with the shell. We got him standing upright. He's so that guy, he's dispatched. Is he killed? It doesn't matter. All we know is that guy's taken. And now he's looking over here. He's spying on them. And what's he do? He throws this sigh, and this guy's talking. It's just perfect. We know exactly what's going on. I didn't read any of the words. Granted, I read it last night, but it's not confusing. It fills in all the details. It's even letting me know that Raphael here is the lone warrior. He is the true ninja out of all of them. We got the sigh that just hits this guy. I guess what the blunt end hit him and it sticks in the wall. Oh, that's right, because it has a message on it. So there you go. There's the calling card. He goes, the evil. I love how like everybody is in ninja costumes, but then the leaders are in like business suits. They're the evil business suit guys. He goes, who, they want to challenge me. I will give you. They want death. I'll give them death. Theirs. Just such good storytelling. So good. So good. Let me address the chat. I'm going to buy V&V. Oh, cool. Where do you live, David? What state you living in? I could get sidetracked to talk about V&V for the next hour and a half, so I'll just limit it as it's my favorite role playing game. I have if you go to my website, which how dear anticipated, and you go and you click on the V&V logo, my house rules will pop up. My house rules are as big as the rule book. Get well soon. Never seen this before. Thanks for sharing. Oh, McKenna, thank you. I've never seen your name before. Thank you for showing up. Thank you. What do we got here? The original TMNT was both fun for kids and gritty as hell. And martial arts is an accessible every person superpower. And the turtles are an earth-based, cool, alien, grounded. Yeah, yeah, martial arts. How should I put this? Martial arts is like it. I guess the way you put it is the best. It is an accessible every person super. Yeah, because it's funny that you said that. I was trying to think of a way to phrase it better, but you said it the best. Back in junior high school and high school, martial arts was like a superpower. Yeah, there's no other way to explain it than the way you just said. And it's a superpower that we could train and learn. And I had ultimate respect for kids that like would go and have the discipline and actually learn how to do it. So yeah, that's funny. That's a really good explanation. It is an accessible superpower that any one of us could learn, provided we have the discipline and rigor. That excellent. Good question mark. Good way to explain that. Sometimes other people could encapsulate my thoughts much better than me. Yeah, Ralph is the most independent of the group. Jonas Olson, how you doing? How dear? Sign up for my Substack, Heroic Tales. You're in New York City. Oh, cool. Maybe we'll play some V&V one of these days. Thank you. I used to live in Queens. Now I live in Suffolk. So he sends the message to now we could doubt the wisdom of letting somebody like Shredder know that you're on to him, like I'm thinking like if you're a ninja, isn't like surprise like your greatest weapon? So look at these, it just shows you like this is like New York City of a why can't I think of Taxi Driver? It's just like burnt up, beaten. Like this is like the 70s, late 60s, mid 70s New York City. All the buildings are broken down. I guess nowadays too. I mean, geez, you got the National Guard patrolling the subways. And I love this. They're showing the claws to climb up the buildings. Shredder, we are here. And then I could only call this like this panel. I will adjust the camera. I could only call this panel Frank Miller. Oh, jeez. Oh, God, that is so painful. I could only call this panel Frank Miller meets Will Eisner. You know, if you know what I'm talking about, like read The Building or New York Stories, and then add the grit and disgustingness of Frank Miller's like Daredevil run, and we got this. Now, all the shadows. We got these four blobs over here that are hard to distinguish. Why? Because it's perfect. They're ninjas. You know what I mean? They're blending in the shadows. You know, and how long are they waiting? Who knows? Indiscriminate amount of time. Who are these fools? I just two panels here. Two panels. And it I don't know. Just so good. So good. Oh, you're thinking of April? You're gonna pick up April, and yes, Suffolk, Long Island. Yes. Great panel. Great panel. I agree. And Matt is a comic book artist that I will be working with, you know. So there you go. You know, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Yeah, 1970 Mayor Koch, New York City. Yes, that's funny. Mayor Koch. I don't know. Something about Mayor Koch always made me laugh. Mikey is skilled, consider the nunchucks, but he's generally the goofiest one, the one who most embraces their identity and wants to help his brothers have fun. They'd be too serious without him. Excellent. Okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah. I guess it would be dark without like some comedy relief. Thanks for the links. Well, Haldir is good. Marcus is good. Kirby, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. How's everything? And now look at this. Now we got the introduction of the villain. Cool. Again, the panels alternating colors because we can't have just guys use imagine with me. Imagine with me. How pretentious is that statement that I just said? Uh, Again, I'm just adjusting the camera. Imagine all the backgrounds were the same color. Wouldn't that just ruin it? Just masterful over here. We have the buildings forming the black with you know the murky clouds in the background. This is just white. Why? Because it's just white. Because it's extends over here. Was he standing on the ground in the spotlight? It shows so much. It shows so much. Again, I don't know their ages. Were these guys teenagers? Were they adults when they made this? But this just shows that this arrogant lone figure is standing in a spotlight. Just so cool. And then we got this. He's jumping down, and we got an excuse to keep the building separate. And then we got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Where are they? They are on the other spotlight. I can't help but think of comic books as theater. I know nowadays we use terms like cinematic when we talk about comic books, but I really do think that comics are closer to cinema. I mean, to theater rather than movies, and they use a lot of the. Let's see. I got Matt in here. Matt, back me up. Am I talking out of my ass over here? Like, would you say the comic books are, you know, maybe like a big Marvel beat 'em up is more cinematic, but like this is theater. You know, the way the light, especially a black and white comic. Now look at this. I love how the tiles are white over here, but he's in the shadow, making him mysterious. And look at this. This is like the full reveal. I don't know. That is a pretty gruesome design for this isn't a kid's comic. I was just about to say for a kid's comic, but this isn't for kids. Little kids weren't walking into the comic book store and plopping down $1.50 for a comic book in 1984 when most comic books were 75 cents. You know what I mean? It just wasn't happening. So this isn't not for kids. And then we got the mindless, not mindless, the faceless, personality, the devoid of personality, Foot Clan. Just so good. Foot, join me. Again, that's the kind of thing that we don't think of until we think about it. And then we got a double page spread. Now, these guys, Eastman and Laird, they were chomping at the bit to do a double page fight scene. And they finally have reason to do it. 28 pages in, and they finally have an excuse, or not the excuse, but the license to do like a 2-page spread. Nope, no dialogue, no sound balloons, and it moves. Can you guys see this with me? Like I'm looking at it in person, not through the camera. But could you just see it? It almost moves. My eye, it's tricking my eyes. We got the turtle over here, just in this, and they each got their own like little sections. It's really, really well spaced out. We got Katana over here, who's again, I'm so terrible. I know Donatello has the staff over here. Raphael has the size. Okay, I'm learning. I'm learning. We got Michelangelo over here with the nunchucks, so that leaves Leonardo over here, right? He's the katana guy, and they each have a focus, and they each have their own like separate action. Look, like Donatello's just in mid leap over here. This stick is just gonna bash this guy in the face. And if this was animated, this guy's head would just jerk over here. Look at this guy falling. So good. I could look at this panel. Look at this guy just holding on for dear life. He's got the mask on, but you could still see panic in his eyes as he's about to fall off the building. So good. So good. I watched Finch yesterday two times. What is Finch? Is that another YouTuber? Is that are you talking about the comic book artist? Oh, Marcus, always reminding me to always be selling. Thank you. Is the Heroic Tales pint glass with the patriarch symbol on the back. I've been selling a lot of these. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. $20 makes your beer taste delicious. The Teenage Mutant cartoon video were all watered down versions, but it was thrilling at the time to see the material in other form. Yes, that's what everybody tells me, that the comics were grittier. How many people are dead? There's blood all over the place. Black and white comic, way to go. Yes, I totally agree. Maybe some of the best ideas start as a fun joke. It's funny that you should say that, question mark. Question mark is on fire today with the comments. The patriarch, this character, I created it as a goof. I was like, what would be funny? A Superman type character called the patriarch. That'll get the woke progressives angry. And then I fell in love with the character, fleshed him out, and now he's my character. I love him. He started out kind of as a joke, and Mary Sue, who will be the hero of issue number 2, she started out as a joke, and I love Mary Sue. So there you go. You're absolutely right. Some of the best ideas start out as a goof. So Leo, Marcus with the facts over here. Eastman was 21. Lard was 30. Wow. Okay. Oh, David Finch draw streams. Oh yeah, he's such a good artist. Such a good artist. Yeah, absolutely. One of the best living comic book artists. Yep, this is the best, Ruben. Yep. That era for black art was incredible time for indie. Absolutely. Maybe next week I'll show Love and Rockets #1. What seems to be missing in modern everything is there's nothing left for the audience to imagine. The older, low-budget, hobby-first approach is a good place to return to and begin. Again, question mark over here is on fire with his comments. Me and my 3-year-old are hooked on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I'm just gonna say the turtles. That's a mouthful, and it believe it or not, it still hurts to talk right now. So while I got you here, which one of these movies should I see? Tell me the title of the movie, and if it's just turtles, tell me what year movie that I should check out, because I'm actually getting interested from looking at this comic. So we got a Donatello. I can't believe I know which turtle is which now. These guys are good. Now this is a little bit of a I don't know if this is a mistake, because I can't tell who's talking. Is Donatello talking, or is this foot soldier talking? But and then he says, "Too good." And again, the word balloon is kind of, oh, but we are the best. Okay, so that fixes it out. So we are the best. It fixes that. That was a little confusing for me, but it worked itself out. There's glare on it over here. Again, he's just waiting in. Your ninja have fallen, Shredder. And look at blood on the swords. They got blood and gore all over them. My men, they were the best. I'll see that they have left their mark. And here we got his eyes over here. And then this panel, not my favorite panel in the book. This is a little too murky. little too murky. I can't really tell, you know, anybody want to disagree with me, but I think it would have been more effective if we had his eyes and then if we had their eyes with like gore and sweat. But instead we get like just their bodies and yeah, there is cuts on them and everything, but I don't know. A minor miss as far as I'm concerned. And now we got, you know, the monologuing villain. Look at this pose over here. The Wolverine claws. Oh, man, Wolverine. I guess Wolverine is still the coolest superhero, right? Wolverine was. If you were into comics in 1984, like Wolverine was like a secret. Everybody knew Spider-Man, everybody knew Superman, Batman, but Wolverine was the coolest comic book character that the normies didn't know about. I think it was like the 97 X-Men cartoon that really brought Wolverine into the popular consensus of like the normies. But for a good 10-year period, I would say that Wolverine was like the best kept comic book character secret, that we had. And I got to say, part of me kind of resents that Wolverine was taken out from us comic book guys and given to the normie population. But we got this foot over here, and then good choreographed fight. So we pose. He's coming at him. So I guess Raphael is the first in battle. Look at like now I'm paying attention to the actual characters. I'm seeing personality develop right in the first issue. Raphael is, and it makes sense. He's got the shortest weapons. Again, masterful. I didn't think of that. Again, now it makes sense that he was a 30-year-old man, but he's got the shortest, most personal weapons. Donatello's got a staff. He could be far away. Nunchucks have a far reach, and a katana, you could be like 10 feet away. But size, these are daggers. You got to get in close. You got to get, so that makes sense. I'm digging that. So he jumps in. He's a master. If he wasn't a master, there would be no drama. He slashes the turtle, and he just starts beating the crap out of Raphael. Raphael, look, he just dismisses him. Not dismisses him. There's some good fight. You're next. So he got Leonardo over here. He starts fighting Leonardo. Look at the slashes over here on his chest. And I will turn the page and I will address the comments. I got to scroll up. Wow, thank you for a lot of comments. So people are telling me the 1990 movie, that's the movie to check out. Oh yeah, this is the prime 80s indie comic. Yeah, absolutely. This, oh, you know what? Okay. I think I'll do Love and Rockets and I'll do Cerebus. How's that? There we go. Good. Thank you, Ellie Broken 3. That's a mouthful. I'll just say Ellie. Yeah, thanks. I think it's time to show some I'm getting all right, we got 3 confirmations for the 1990 movie. I'll check it out. I'll check it out. The imaginations that were captured will never be equaled or surpassed. That's a tall order. But yes, it's comics are fun. What else do you want me to say? I got nothing else to say other than comics are fun. When people ask me why do you like comics, without a doubt, my first response is the imagination. The imagination. Look at comics. Look at the imagination. We got planet destroying giants. We got Silver Surfers. We got turtles that mutate into ninjas. We got last son of a dying planet sent to Earth. It's just the imagination. I don't know. I'm getting a little verklempt. The imaginations were captured. Okay, I already said that. I downloaded, but haven't watched them yet. Okay, let's see. Scrolling down. Oh, we got 1992. 1992. Wolverine has cool older brother vibes. I could see why he's popular. And he was the mysterious loner. He was the bad boy. He was the troublemaker. When this came out, 1984, Wolverine was he didn't have that many appearances. He wasn't in every comic book. He was only in the X-Men. The X-Men wasn't selling that that well yet. You know, the X-Men wasn't the explosive phenomenon yet. So Mr. Wolverine was like Ghost Rider. He was like a spooky figure in the background of Marvel. You know, he was a, you know, we filled it up like Boba Fett. Boba Fett, we didn't really have much to deal with Boba Fett. We just saw a cool costume and we filled in the blanks. That's what we did with Wolverine. Sometimes less is more. That gritty rendering is so cool. Yes. Oh, I assume you're talking about either that or the other page. Uh, uh, might be off topic. What's your opinion on transmedia storytelling, telling a story across multiple platforms and formats? A good approach for indie. You're gonna have to explain that to me a little more. I don't know exactly what you mean. Uh, that's all. I don't know exactly what you mean. I'm shocked you never got into the turtle. Yeah, I explained it at the beginning. I was irrationally offended by the idea that these guys were making fun of comic books. You know, I thought they were making fun of comics, and I had a zealous righteousness about me of like that bordered on evangelical is at the time. It when I was, you know, in the 80s. Like how I had family friends that were actively like comics are for kids. You're stupid. You're not my friend. My mom and my dad were, they were happy because I couldn't read. I discovered comics and I could read. So they were just happy that I was reading and I had good grades and I wasn't a troublemaker. But family friends were always like, oh, comic books are subliterate. They're garbage, blah, blah, blah. So I was always defending comics. And then this comic comes out and they're making fun of comics, but they were making fun of comics, like making fun of comics, not making, you know, not putting them down. But I mistook their intentions and I was irrationally offended by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it really wasn't until excuse me, it really wasn't until Tonic Bowl convinced me to pick up a copy of number one. Well, he just told me to pick up a copy. I had to pick up number one because I'm the crazy person. So here we got the storytelling over here. Look at no word. Well, there's words over here. He is too skilled for us to fight one-on-one, brothers. Use group tactics and hit him from a distance. So here we got, I assume that this is a big deal because here we got Raphael admitting that he cannot defeat Shredder one-on-one. Time for some teamwork. And we got Shuriken over here. Oh my God, was Shuriken a cool thing back? We you know, we used to go to the flea markets and there was always that shady guy with an eye patch, you know, walked with a cane selling shurikens to little kids. You know, there's the Army Navy store guy, there's the guy in the flea markets, you know, and we thought they were so cool. Look at this shuriken. I paid $7 for it. It's got a red dragon etched into it, you know, and we didn't throw them, you know, we just put them in our pocket and thought we were cool. You know, so now they're all just teaming up. Dodge these, master. And they get in Shredder to dodge, to tumble, you know, and then just hand to hand over here now. Like, I like this. This is how desperate they're getting. They showed that that Shredder is a master. He's beaten Raphael one-on-one. Raphael admits that he can't deal with it. And they're desperately throwing everything at him. You know, he's throwing his signature weapons at him. And now he's coming at him hand to hand, you know, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm going to turn the page and then I will address the comments. And I'm being very ginger as I turn the pages, as I'm sure everybody can appreciate. The Cecil approach is the best approach. Tell no one you read comics. I tell everybody. All the guys at work bust my chops. You know, I tell everybody. You know, I'm an open book. I'm an open book. Except start a story in comics to continue an audio podcast. Oh, I see. Okay. Let me think about that. Question mark. Can you let me percolate on that? I don't have an answer right away. My gut reaction is I don't like it, but then again, sometimes I'm just wrong with my gut reaction. Let me think about that. What edition is this number one? This is 5th edition. This is the 5th edition. This was the earliest edition that I could afford. So, you know, it's still a couple. I don't know. I'll look up the price. Marcus, would you be able to? I know Marcus with his dad. I don't like only canon in the same. That's my gut reaction, but let me put some thought into it. Comics will always be considered at the bottom of the cultural totem pole, even after the success of the MC. Telling a hot girl, you know, I have to agree with your boy Zach Richard C. Meyer, and it's funny because we got Allison. Allison, you still in the comments? Are you still watching? For the most part, girls like things that are popular when they're popular because they're popular. Back in the 80s, I got teased, not by boys, but by girls for reading comics, and the worst part was girls who were comic fans. We had girls that would come into the comic store and we would let them go into the bathroom after they paid the comics. They would go into the bathroom and they would like take their comics and hide them in their clothes, put them up their shirts, you know what I mean? And then leave because they didn't want to get teased by other girls, you know? So, and now all these girls are cosplaying. They don't like comics. Like Matt Barr will back me up. Let me see your comic collection. You know what I mean? Like I see all of these cosplay girls dressing up as Spider Gwen and stuff like that. Let me see your comics. And I don't want to see 14 files on your iPad or your phone. I want to see long boxes with well-read comics. Like somebody said that Anna doesn't like comics. Well, at least she admits it. She's not, I got to give her credit being in the gulk, the geek sphere, admitting that she doesn't read and doesn't like comics. That's got to be the honesty accounts for something. So let's look at this. So now we got distraction. Donatello's hitting him with the staff. This panel over here, I'm going to call a little bit of bull on. I can't quite see what's going on. It looks like Shredder's kicking him in the stomach, but I think we got a little too expressive with this explosion. I think a sound effect with just a drawn foot would have been a little bit more effective. But who am I? And I love this. The staff just knocks off his face mask. Shredder is posing, and he comes at him, but perhaps not. And again, we see the knife over here. Look at his face over here. So what is that? That's Leonardo with the kill shot. You've been beaten. So he's been run through with the sword over here. Now, I'm not naive. I know Shredder has to come back. He stabbed, so, he's just monologuing before death. He goes, take this, commit seppuku. He goes, I will never die. I will never kill myself. I have a thermite bomb. So he's got a bomb. He's going to take them out. Donatello for the win over here. He knocks the bomb out of his hand. So he falls off the building with the bomb and kablooey. Look at this panel. I think this panel in some iteration, shape, or form has been used over and over again. It's just really good. And then, boom, our mission accomplished. Our master's master is avenged. I'm tired. Let's go home. And then what do? He gathers up a trophy. Shredder has been shredded. Now I'm not dumb. We don't see the body. Shredder's going to return. And then we got this panel over here. We're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We strike hard and fade away into the night. Little group shot over here. He discards the Shredder's armor over here. And then I will address the chat. And then this backup panel. Let's see. Where are we? Okay. Comics. Okay. I already saw that. When the bad guys attack in groups, it's cowardly, but when the good guys attack as a group, that's the power of teamwork. Granted, the bad guys generally don't work as a team, but that's a mob still. Yeah. It's funny that you should say that because I play my Villains and Vigilantes role-playing game, and I use that system to do a fantasy game. So you will see it in my comic book at some point, but I do have a version of the multiverse. But there's only one patriarch. In all the multiverse, there's only one version. Why? Because the laws of physics are slightly different in each universe. And if the laws of physics are slightly different in each universe, it's impossible for there to be the same things. So you can't have variations of different characters in different universes. So one universe is closer to chaos, meaning that there's more magic. than science. Magic is easier in that universe, and that's where my Dungeons and Dragons world takes place. And believe me, in my comics, there will be a crossover at some point if I make it, God willing. So please pick up Heroic Tales. The website, the campaign page is being built as we speak. So anyway, one of the things that happened it is I got the idea that orcs. I wanted to make orcs scary. So one of the things that orcs do, if you read the Dungeons and Dragons book, orcs are supposed to be like lawful evil. So orcs are organized and they use group tactics and they fight. Oh my God, did my players became scared of orcs. Goblins run around as maniacs. Goblins act as warriors one-on-one, where the orcs attack as soldiers. And it's just terrifying. Like in my game, when they encounter an orc encounter, the fantasy characters are like, oh no, like they start getting together and doing some group tactics. The show Defiance, I didn't like an interesting experiment. Seems important to consider the Q. Okay, this sounds like a whole discussion. How would you feel about coming on my channel and like talking about this in a whole like private message me and we'll talk about maybe coming on. That's a topic in itself. Will you judge me? Because no, absolutely not. As long as you got physical comics, as you got physical, well-loved worn comics, and you know, and I don't begrudge. I'm not this kind of snob that'll be like, oh, you just got into comics a year ago. If you're into comics, you're into comics. You know, I'm 55 years old. I can't get mad at the 25-year-olds who are new into comics, just learning. But like, are you honestly into comics? Are you into comics because it's popular now that it's popular? Like, part of me is kind of glad that the Marvel movies are winding down because the tourists will move on. The tourists will move on, and us comic fans will have comics again. Oh, thank you, Heldia. Sign up for Heroic Tales. This is my Substack. I will not spam you, but I'll keep you up to date of what's going on with my comic. I favor leading creators alone to do their like, yeah. I don't want to bother any of the creators. So now we have a backup story. Anybody, you know, so who's this now? I see, I can't tell. I can't tell if that's a katana or if it's a staff. We got new comments. I don't have many old comics, but I'm getting into the indies. Okay. Oh, it's a staff. Okay. Okay. So here we have the first appearance of April O'Neil. So, and check this out. Story and art by Eric Talbot. This I don't like. This is I don't know what's going on. You know, growing. How about getting another newspaper? So you're going to see an example of Eastman and Laird doing some masterful storytelling. And this Eric Talbot, no offense to Eric Talbot. Oh, this is 1988. So this must be an add-on. Okay, so this didn't come out in the original comic. Donatello in not one word. So I don't know if I take it back. I thought this was the first appearance of April O'Neil because it was in this comic, but it says right here 88. So this is add-on. So this is not her first appearance. But you know, the storytelling is a little wonky in this. Don't really know what's going on. And we just have Donatello going out, hijinks ensue, falling down, smashing stuff, slipping on bananas. I don't know. I just didn't particularly like this. And you know, so he comes home and he's covered in flour. It's just a gag. So this is number 1, 5th print, August 1988. I couldn't afford to get the actual first printing. So let's address the chat. Thanks for the stream. Down memory lane. Got to head out. Happy to chat more later about it. Thank you. Yeah. How you doing, Dale? Good to see you. So there we go. This was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1. This obviously came out 4 years later than the first printing, but it had the first story, which was excellent. Better than I expected. People, you know, again, The irrational hatred of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is on me. You know, I don't claim to be perfect. I irrationally hated this comic, but I admit when I was wrong. I never liked the cartoons. I never liked the whole cowabunga dude. Uh, and but I will admit, Tonic Bowl got me to. He said the comics were vastly different than the cartoons and the movies, and I could see why people were fans of this comic. I have yet to watch the cartoons. Like I'm a big fan of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs or Xenozoic Tales, and the cartoon is unbearable to me. You know, they just do the same thing. The X-Men 97, I can't stand it. I don't like it. And I understand some people that's their introduction to X-Men. I don't know. It's just so corporate executive idea of what comic books and cartoons and superheroes should be rather than the creators. It's so different. I just don't like it. So yes, I'm not too excited about the reboot of the X-Men cartoon. Uh, I don't know what else to say. My comics are mostly manga and CG. I'm reading some classic American comics digitally. Oh, cool. Let me ask you this while I still got 45 people in the chat who have never seen this before. Who, like, is this who among us? This was your first time seeing the first appearance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Because I bought the comic. It sat on my stack over here. I was going to do Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos #1, but I can't move boxes. I had the hernia surgery and I couldn't move a box. It's right over there underneath the box. I just couldn't lift the box. So this was on top. It was easy access. Glad I did it though. So let me know. Anybody? Is this your first time seeing this? Did you read a reprint? Did you see this before? Did you not read a comic? I'm curious. Because I'm a crazy person. When Tonic Mold convinced me to check out the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I purposely avoided movies, cartoons, and I wanted my first experience to be their first appearance, if that makes sense. So I'm just curious if anybody else is like me. So we got now 97 was fire. The first 3 seasons. Okay, I'm not going to argue. So you've not seen this issue. This is my first time seeing #1. Okay. You own #1, the first printing? Oh, you just reminded me of a story. I so many times, I'm known as the comic book guy. I don't hide it. I talk about it a lot. So guys at work are always bringing me comics. Uh, I had a neighbor in Queens, and he'd be like, "Oh, I got a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 with the purple ink." And I bought it. I bought it when my son was a kid, and I got it wrapped up, and I was like, "Oh, cool," And then he kept asking me what it was worth, and I'm like, "I don't really know Teenage Mutant Ninja." I didn't want to get into. I didn't, that I didn't want to tell him I didn't like them, and blah blah blah. I didn't want to hurt the guy's feelings, so I just told him the truth. I don't know much about the comics, so I invited him in my apartment, and I showed him my software, and we went through and scrolled. And his edition was worthless. Oh man, I feel so bad looking at his face. He definitely got roped in by a shyster or a con man comic book store owner who sold him a worthless comic, hyping it up as a collectible. And you could his face just sunk. I feel so bad. Oh, so you own a second printing? Okay, second printing. Man, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. What an obscure reference. I would love to. Anybody got Mark Schultz's contact information? I would love to get some artwork from him. I really enjoyed. Hope you do more 80s comics. Yeah, I think the next couple of weeks I'll do some of these black or white indies comics. Maybe next week I'll do Cerebus or Love and Rockets. That's still money. So jealous. My eldest son loved the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s. Now I wish, but it's second printing. Second printing is, outranks mine. Mine is fifth printing. good to know. But teenage is good to know for its, but what are you talking about? The movies, cartoons, comics? I don't know what you're talking about. Cadillacs and Dodge is great. Cartoon is weak. Yeah, the cartoon. It's just corporate executives taking a comic and turning it into, they all have the same voices, they all have the same personalities, all have the same tropes. Status quo is established at the end of every issue. The only cartoon from the 90s that or a couple of cartoons from the 90s that I could look back on and think that there was something special was, of course, the Batman animated series, the whole Paul Dini verse, the Batman that led into the Superman that led into the Justice League. Those were excellent. And the Gargoyles, the Greg Weisman Gargoyles cartoon, that was phenomenal. You know, and I think the cartoons were the Gargoyles cartoons. I think I liked them so much because they were all original. I had nothing to compare it to. It was its own thing. It was its own intellectual property, and it only lasted what, like 2 or 3 seasons. I really really liked it. Uh, Second printings were low, probably 100. Oh man, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm so mad that I had the first printing in my hand and I put it back like this is garbage. But there you go. I'm gonna wind down. My abdomen is killing me from projecting my voice. And I had that tube down my throat for the surgery, so my throat is still killing me. So I'm going to shut it down now unless the comments pick up. So I'll filibuster for a minute. Anybody? Anybody? I'll take a sip of my Tim Hortons coffee. Coffee. Perth, I'll see you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I'll see you. I think next week I'll either do Love and Rockets #1, which is really bizarre, or Cerebus #1. All right. Thanks a lot. I'll see you. I'm going to call it, we're calling it a day. All right. Thanks a lot. And this week, I don't have too much stuff scheduled because I had the surgery. So I'll take it easy. If I do stuff, it'll be pre-recorded videos and maybe like a spontaneous live or something like that. So thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you. Bye-bye.